Hello there, everybody. This is ShadowGear6335 here doing a review of Medic. Medic! Medic! Her name is actually Medic. Her real name is Collete. Thank you, Eric Lodestar, for giving me that name. But her real name is Collete, but she doesn't care enough to really let people know her name, so she just goes by Medic. So the bio for this character is down below. I should have put it in the slideshow too, which I forgot to do. But hopefully I remember this time. As a summary to it, she's basically just a medic for hire. She'll align with anyone who gives her enough money, and it comes down to money. And there's a lot of inspirations for this MOC. In terms of design, one of the biggest features, a lot of people called out, oh, it looks like Ratchet from Transformers Prime. It looks like this Ratchet. No, it's based off Red Alert from Transformers Animated. Because for the 5 seconds we saw her, she looked pretty cool. So that's partly an inspiration, but also just like general like medics. Like my original idea for her was the concept of like her just being a medic for hire, learning anything she could. She was originally going to be organic, like a human-esque type of creature, and learn to have like white mage abilities and like a mechanical arm on her back and like things like that. Well, she just kind of spurned into like just a robot-ish character. So, or a biomechanical? I don't RP, so I don't really think about these things all that often. But the idea of her being super greedy with money, I guess the old biotube notion of like, I made this MOC because it kind of reflects myself. Made this during a time when I was money hungry and just couldn't think of it. Just like, oh, I'll do this if you give me money, or do that if you give me money. It's a kind of a reflection towards myself to some degree. You can read into that as much as you'd like, but that is the furthest I will go. Or could be a commentary on how I feel about doctors, which I don't feel that way necessarily at all. Wow, this got weird. Anyway, this MOC has been on my Flickr for quite some time. However, I guess I kind of first revealed her at Brick Fair, Virginia. I didn't... had some pictures floating around on my Instagram, which, by the way, ShadowGear6335 Instagram. If you want to see some whips and see some dumb pictures, I would recommend following that. But yeah, I didn't necessarily post her, but I brought her to Brick Fair, and a lot of people didn't really see her until then. So yeah, this is her. The half-system, mostly system, Technic Hero Factory MOC. I'll get into that as we go. But yeah, I really like this MOC. I designed her to kind of like keep her around for a while, kind of being like a part of like a little Minions little team as being like the general medic. And I think she's really cool. Before we go on with the review though, I do want to state one thing. So you can't really tell this in the pictures, let alone this video. But there's 3 main colors to her. White and red, but also mint. If you take a bit of a zoom here, you can tell that like this little cheese slope right here and like these pieces on her face and like that cheese slope there, there's mint green, not mint green, like a mint blue in her. Most of the parts from this came from the Dr. Dentist Team Mixels. So it's that color of really, really subtle light blue. Like I think Bricklink categorizes it as light aqua. So yeah, you can't really tell that in pictures all that well, but it's a color scheme I've wanted to use for a long time. Finally had enough parts to really do it, and it ended up being mostly a system MOC. So this is interesting. Although I will say the skeleton of this thing is pretty much Technic, with a lot of system on top of it. Let's start out with the feet so I can start getting into detail about that. So here are the feet. In fact, actually, I think the feet are more so Technic than anything else. Upon disassembling... Whoa! Her torso fell off. That's okay. Her leg fell off. That's okay. Upon taking off her foot, it is mostly Technic. The build is nothing crazy complex. It's basically just the hand connectors kind of lined up together, and then pulling this apart, you get a better look as to how that's built. So, yeah, a lot of people wanted me to do a how-to on her legs in particular. I'd be happy to do it. I certainly wouldn't mind. But I like this foot. It kind of gives the appearance of like kind of a nurse's shoe. I was going to say cleat or like kind of slipper. But I guess that isn't right to a degree. The lower leg, I think, is one of the things I'm the most proud about this MOC, because it's using this newer style armor piece that was used on the Star Wars construction sets, and it's a great piece to have. I think it's super good. Also, the addition of using this old school, I guess it is pretty old by now, like the Glatorian armor shin guards there for some detail. The way that is literally attached is that if I pull this off, that's a general idea on how to make the leg. There's a special pieces towards the back of this that actually holds a lot of it together. But it's a system piece, so one day I'll do a how-to. Stay on my ass about that if I don't do it, by the way. Upper leg, super, super basic. I mean, you kind of you can tell how it's built just from that. It's nothing particularly crazy. The waist is where things start to get really crazy. And, really, really fragile. Before I actually get into the waist, small thing, yes, there are 3 Hero Factory symbols on her. I don't care that they're Hero Factory. In fact, it's a small detail to be like hospital. I've argued with people about this. Just because you use this symbol or use these pieces for detailing doesn't make it a Hero Factory MOC. It doesn't. I don't know how hardcore you people were in the Hero Tube community or whatever that really was, but friggin' my phone is going off like a madman. But yeah, doesn't necessarily make it Hero Factory MOC. So the waist, it's built on a Vaki waist, but the build of it looks like it's system. It's basically just a Vaki waist with a hand connector at the top, and then you have this up here for the articulation, because it's just a straight up ball joint in here. But the rest of this is just built around system, and the gimmick with this thing, as shown off in the pictures, is that the skirts back here, which I think actually took me a while to actually figure out a way to make this look nice. And I think this particular design of having these 2 giant wing pieces as a skirt, I could stand out something in the middle there, but I didn't bother. I think that's a nice look. I plan on doing something like that for an update on Purity at some point to give her like an actual legit lab coat. So one day I'll work on that. But these are actually on armatures, so you can unpeg that from the studs there. And there's a particular way, I definitely need to zoom out for this, there's a particular way for you to unfold this out, and then because of the way it's connected, you can swing this forward. This doesn't necessarily stay up on its own, so I'm just going to swing both these guys forward. My original idea with this MOC was to have 4 of these little skirt shields. Because the idea of it was like, oh, what if she had shields on her for whenever she's repairing someone, she can have something protecting her back or her front. Or maybe she can like, deploy like all 4 of them and like spin around like a helicopter and do a lot of damage. Like, I thought that was really cool. In practice, I could do it, but not at this scale. So that's the thing. So I decided to do the 2 instead, and then make the other 2 skirts smaller and add them to the front here as extra bits for the shield. But she can hold on to these. I did add some pieces towards the end of the build where I'm like, oh, I can just have these little pegs here, little axles. You just have them snap into her hand, and then that friction should keep this shield up. Or she can just have them deployed on her back or whatever, or use these as just like giant mallets. Just to be like, I'm going to use you as like a giant fly swatter. Just go burp, 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 burp. I think it's a cool idea. Execution is like, it's kind of like whatever. I mean, I think this looks really cool. I like the idea of it quite a bit. Execution, I think it turned out really good. Could I have done better? Possibly. But at the moment, I don't know how. I never actually put both of these in her hands. Oh, yeah, it fell apart. It's a Shadow Gear copyrighted review. That's a trademark. Things fall apart every review. I will say, since everything's out here, you can... The skirt does something very necessary with this MOC, because she looks very stocky with the skirt on, but when you take the skirts off, she looks a little bit at like, kind of like really thin legs, but then really stocky upper body. The shoulders definitely don't help, which I like, by the way. I'll get to that. But, yeah, it looks a little bit weird. Gonna flip these up. Oh, yeah, that's another thing about this MOC. So because most of it's built with system, it's system. so it falls apart every now and again. I tried to add as many connections as I could, and it still falls apart every now and again. And the skirt is the worst offender. Or rather, not the skirt, but the pieces connecting the skirt to the waist. Because it's just these mixel joints and a bunch of different plates and tiles kind of added together to give a decent, cool-looking look. But, man, it sometimes does not want to stay together. Does not want to be friends. Upon putting everything back in order, move on to the waist articulation itself. Can move side to side, perfect swivel. In fact, the waist design and the torso design is just a variation of Minion/Purity's torso, and it's made to be a little. It's the same thing I kind of did with Decibel's torso in comparison to Circuit's. I just made a bigger, bulkier version of it. So yeah, there's a waist swivel in here. You can kind of have her move side to side if you want, but connection is not the greatest. So the torso, I'm gonna remove these arms for the time being. But yeah, it looks like it's made of system, but you look at it from the side, it's literally Minion's torso inside of there. If you look at this very carefully, you can tell there's a little bit of heresy in this thing. That right here on this and on the other side too. That's a cut red plus rod that I cut in half and put that in there to hold that in place, to hold this one mixel joint in place. That's probably some of the dirtiest heresy I've ever done. And it's just like, you look at that and just be like, man, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, I did that. So, it works. It helps make these arms super stable, which I may as well talk about since we're talking about the torso. So in addition to her little armatures for her skirt, she has another pair of armatures. Well, her boot fell off. She has another pair of armatures here on her back that are coiled up, which unfold. In fact, this whole idea of having armatures is kind of a throwback to an old Toa I made years and years ago called Magnavolt, who was also a medic in a Toa of magnetism. So he had no character. None of my Toa did. But the idea of having a medic with arms, I think, is a cool idea. So I basically just remade it. So yeah, different armatures here. I think they look super cool. I love the way it looks quite a bit. I'm going to put her arms back on here as well. And a cool little thing you can do is that the arms have enough posability to not only swing over her shoulder, but under, which the under look I think I like a little bit better. Also, I think it's probably more practical because those arms would not have enough reach to reach an actual patient from above her shoulders. Also, this piece fell off and it's fucking irritating me. This a bit better. But yeah, the armature thing I think is super cool. I like the look of it quite a bit. There are some extra little bits hanging off the arms. I'll get to that in just a moment. But let's talk about the arms. The actual arms. Which are a little bit of point of contention. I know Elira in particular had an issue with these shoulders. A couple other people did too. But I like the way it looks. So the build of the arms is all Technic. In terms of like hand connector in there, hand connector, plus rod, ball joint, hand connector, plus rod, ball joint. I mean, I don't think I should defend this. Okay, mini rant. Okay, so Bionicle, by the time, in the time of this recording, Bionicle G2 has ended. So there is a scare going around that Construction's going to be ending. So I've been delving more into doing system stuff. This was before the announcement, but I've been doing some of it. So I've been trying to work with making a blend of using system and Technic together, while having the posability and the durability of a Technic set, but having the smooth curves and nice angular bits that a system MOC could offer. And this MOC is certainly not perfect. She comes close, but I think it's a nice hybrid. I think this MOC in general is a very nice hybrid of using system and Technic together in the same set. But back to the arm, the shoulder, really big. This one giant round brick here, super big. But hey, she's got a giant, American, a little, Red Cross, ambulance symbol there. And I think that's super cute. It's a super nice detail with the little lights under there too, the little trans blue there. I think it's a very nice touch. I like the way it looks quite a bit. Posability for the arm, it can't move out all that much, but it can definitely move 360 around and has a little bit of wiggle room within here too. Shoulder, shoulder's fine. Elbow, as you can tell, 90-degree bend. Build of this arm, I would like to cover up those 2 studs, and if I do, it'll bang into the skirt enough to where the arms will look kind of unnatural up against the body. So I choose not to do anything with that. And regular ball joint here. So, as you can tell, she kind of has a regular arm there, and then the other arm is kind of, it's all gray. I wonder why it's all gray. Well, the thing is because to make herself more useful, she amputated her arm to swap out for different tools. So again, it's a very, very Ratchet, very Red Alert Transformer thing of like, oh hey, different arms, different weapons. So this is like a mock-up of her original arm, just made in a robot arm, but you can pull that out and store that on the back. And here is the other arm, if it was in frame. Here is the other arm, which is more of like the tool arm. So if that were to come out properly, you would have this, and then this arm, you can very nicely just plug that in there and then rest the hand up against the back. And do that. And so with the lower arm, it's kind of just, little tiny tool arm. So like here's a little buzzsaw weapon, which this and the other chainsaw sword-looking weapon, this came from Bionicle playsets back in 2006. I know a couple people were asking about that. But you can plug that in, and now she has a little saw arm. It's cute. It's cute. And then for other little attachments, you can pull off this sword from the armatures, kind of pull that out. I don't think I actually got any pictures with this sword weapon now that I think about it. I don't think I did. But yeah, here's this with it on. More of like a long, like jagged tooth little thing. It's cool. It looks pretty nice. Well, I don't know. I think I like the other saw better, but I like having this for variety. But the other thing I think makes a little bit more sense is that she has her little syringe that she can just kind of plug onto here. And then she's all set to go. She's ready to jack you full of a bunch of medicine, yo. Medicine jack up, jack up, jack up. It's like 90 degrees in this room, and I am sweltering in here. So I'm going to drink this water bottle very close to the mic. Get ready. Oh, that's some good H2O. So the head, it's one of those nice things where you make a system head, and you can really, really make a unique looking head design. It's nothing really particularly crazy, but it's a nice curved looking head. I like the way it looks. I like the little doctor headpiece here. Although someone did mention, why didn't you use this in chrome? I completely forgot. I don't even have that piece in chrome, I think. I actually don't think I do. That may be a lie, but I don't know. Yeah, I like having this little hood ornament here. Something that's been bothering me for a while, I don't know if anyone really noticed this. So the main crux of making this head design is that I wanted to use this new curved 1x1 tile that looks very cool. I think you can make a really cool head design based around that. So it's like this with a little nose piece going up into it, and the little gap between the nose and the mouthpiece looks like the little gap is a mouth. So it's kind of like a little brr, 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 brr. Can I actually just pull this out as the example? Just pluck off the nose. Oh, she has no nose! Hold on. When in actuality, that's just meant to be one piece, but I don't know. Yeah, I like the head. I like how stocky it looks. I mean, this is a MOC that's kind of generally meant to look stocky, and I think it does the job fairly well until you remove the skirts. But yeah, it's a female MOC. It's female, by the way. That's another thing too I forgot to mention. This MOC is a girl. It is boobs. This is boobs. It wasn't necessarily explicit. Then again, unfortunately, if you need to make a female MOC nowadays, it's kind of over-sexualized. I'm not complaining, but when you're trying to make something kind of middle of the road, unless it has really big hips or really big boobs, or it has some sort of other feature that makes it feminine, kind of hard for it to tell it's a girl, especially when you make it out of Bionicle pieces or system Lego pieces. It's so hot in here. I am a quivering puddle of sweat. But yeah, that's my review of Medic. I think she's really cool. If I had to do a size comparison, fuck, what's on my desk? What's on my desk? Here is a water bottle. That's a water bottle. Here she is compared to. This is gonna be really dumb. Here she is compared to the will never be released G2 Makuta, which now you can't tell because she is now dead. Rip. Some pieces have fallen off, but she has survived. There she goes. Makuta's just like, yo, what the fuck you doing? The fuck you doing? You spinning? You spinning? You spinning? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's Medic. I think she's a really cool MOC. I don't have any plans to do any updates on her in the future because I'm actually satisfied with her quite a bit. So that's always a good thing when you make a MOC and you actually like it. It's a nice change of pace. Anyway, this review is probably long enough, so I'll leave you guys be for the day. This has been Shadow Gear 655, and hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye, and do you guys know what hemorrhoid cream is? Do you have hemorrhoids? Are you doing roids?